E.D.A.R, or E.D.A.Rs. These are robots hell-bent on killing any who are trying to survive the zombie horde in Killing Floor 2. Some survivors are afraid of them, while a vast majority are just really pissed off at their existence. The addition of these enemy types into the game has caused somewhat of a stir within the Killing Floor 2 community, with some gamers even stating that they are going to stop playing the game until they are removed from the game. I personally am actually going to stop playing the beta version of the game until they are fixed. So what is the problem or problems with these new enemies? Let's look at them with a new biopic entitled E.D.A.R and You. Just kidding, this isn't a biopic, or did you say biopic? I don't know. But I do want to discuss the problems with these robots in this discussion, as well as if there is any probable way to fix them. For those of you who aren't in the summer beta for Killing Floor 2, 3 new robot enemy types have been added to the game, the E.D.A.Rs. This is a non-zombie enemy that will randomly appear in certain waves with 3 different variations: the E.D.A.R Blaster, Bomber, and Trapper. The Blaster variant shoots lasers, the Bomber fires rockets, and the Trapper, probably the most hated one at the moment, can freeze you in place until you damage him. These may not sound too bad, but there are a few problems that are causing some fans of the game to be a bit put out with them. The first thing to keep in mind is that these enemies are still in the beta phase, and they have not yet been introduced into the main game. Any problems that there might be with them may not exist with the full release of the summer update. They may also not even make it into the summer update. These are still work in progress and will definitely feature growing pains in their current state. This is the main thing to keep in mind as we address these problems that are most likely just glitches not intended to be in the full release. Another thing is that I have experienced issues with these bots primarily on the Hell on Earth and Suicidal difficulties. They are probably not as big as a problem on the lower difficulties, but they can mean the difference between a victory or defeat on the harder difficulties. With all of that out of the way, these bots are still a nuisance. For me personally, I do not find the Blaster or Bomber to be a big threat, as you can tend to dodge their attacks similar to how you have to dodge the attacks of the fire blasting zombies or some of the ranged bosses. If I were to change anything, I think that I would have the Bomber not be able to fire his missiles within a close radius. This attack could damage himself, for example, if he were to use it. He would be restricted to melee attacks within a couple yards, but could fire his barrage once you are out of the splash damage radius. It may actually already be like this. As for the Blaster, I think that he can stay as is. I find him to be the least threatening as long as you don't simply stand there and take his attacks. Cover is very key in Killing Floor 2, and employing it to dodge the bot attacks is actually a great training ground for the future boss that you may have to face. I think that most can agree with me when I say that the Trapper is the main problem at the moment. Stunning you is bad enough as it forces you to stand still. This can mean the difference between life and death, as he can potentially freeze you in place, allowing the remaining zombies to beat you into the ground. But it only takes a shot on the robot to force him to release you from his tractor beam of certain doom. Your character even turns to face the bot directly if you are being frozen, so that you have a clear shot on him. Similar to if you are being grabbed by a zombie, which is the other freeze ability in the game that is granted to the enemy. The main issue at the moment though is that the bot's range is too far and his attack clips through walls, which cuts you off from being able to attack him. I once had a train of zombies behind me and was frozen from dozens of feet away by the Trapper, who was in another train of zombies. He wasn't my immediate problem at the moment, but he suddenly became my biggest threat as he allowed the zombies behind me to begin attacking me. It seemed a bit unfair that he could inflict such a killing blow on me from so far away. This is actually something that is going to be tweaked in the next update for the beta. The Trappers will have a much shorter range, which is exactly how I think it should be. This should definitely lead to fewer annoying attacks, as well as lowering the amount of clippable walls between you and the Trapper. Speaking of clipping, this wasn't addressed in the latest developer post. This is actually pretty problematic, as I am finding this to be the biggest problem in the game right now. Sure, it may be less of a problem now that they have to be closer, but it will definitely still be there even at shorter ranges. This is the next problem that I think needs to be directly addressed. Other than the change to range, a weak spot mechanic was mentioned. There will be the ability to hit weak spots within the robots. This weak spot will be vulnerable once the chest armor has been removed from the bot. If you are able to kill the bot from the weak spot, an EMP blast will be released and will stun any nearby zombies. Accurate sharpshooters will even be able to penetrate the armor and hit the weak spot before the armor has been removed. It also seems that the strength of the chest armor will be reduced as well. Because of these changes, I think that the bots will offer a much fairer fight. Once these changes are employed and once the clipping problem has been addressed, the bots will be able to be taken down more practically and fairly, just like the remaining zombies. If these changes can be implemented correctly, then I think that the bots should stay. I understand not liking a new addition to a game that can change the formula, but I respect the developers for trying something new. This really does shake up confrontations, and I love that. Even if you are a veteran player, you will now have to try new strategies when these bots are around. It is another quality of life change which will keep players on their toes rather than feeling like they are fighting the same battles over and over. I think that the bots should stay, and once these changes are made, I'm sure that most of those playing the game will feel the same way. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And also let me know what you think. Should the bots stay? Should they go? Or what would you like to see changed? I think the main thing to keep in mind is that they are in the beta phase, and the annoyances that we have with them right now are probably short-lived and will hopefully be, gone in the next update. But yeah, just let me know what you think though, and thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys.